crashing danger. Filmed without the benefit of cages, mechanical sharks, or other protective devices. A unique adventure that thrusts you into the jaws of death.
Welcome to That's Canon, where we talk about the Canon Film Library and other similar films. I'm Phil.
And I'm Greg.
Greg, we sat down this fine autumn afternoon separately and
in separate houses.
In separate houses at different times, and we watched a movie that we thought was going to be, at least I thought, was going to be more Jaws than just boring people talking.
Little did we know
that Mako, the Jaws of Death, that was released in 1976, is probably one of the, the epitome of bait and switch type films.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was an absolute bait and switch. No pun intended, huh?
Yeah.
Fish jokes.
The poster shows a woman screaming, a shark going after her, and it says, sheer terror. Filmed without the benefit of cages, mechanical sharks, or other protective devices. And
such a gimmick. I mean, clearly they said that to try and throw shade at Jaws, I guess, which had come out, a year, almost to the day earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, from what I've read, this movie was written before Jaws. In that
really,
they couldn't get the film made until Jaws was popular. Then everyone wanted to start making shark films.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, the Canon Film Group at the time was just looking for what do we got? It's got sharks in it.
Yeah, exactly.
What do we got?
Mako sharks, which I mean, I'm not a shark expert, but the Mako shark in the film, it doesn't look that menacing.
No, you're right. I think that's. I mean, I don't know much. I ain't no shark expert either. I've seen maybe one Shark Week in my life. But I mean, they looked overall quite a bit smaller than the great whites that I'm used to seeing in films. But honestly, I don't know. I mean, maybe they were just juveniles that they could control. I mean, they did say that they filmed this without cages or protective equipment. So maybe they were just going for they were just going with the smaller ones that weren't going to eat the cinematographer.
Exactly. Who knows? But let's go ahead. Let's start talking about Mako, which it opens with pretty much the same thing on the poster. It opens with a thank you, which I thought was so weird. Again, like you've got the people in the seats watching the film. Why they're like, thank you for putting your life in danger for filming sharks without a cage.
Yeah, it was like they no credit titles. I mean, obviously the opening credits come later, but yeah, that's literally the first thing that you see is you fade in from black, and it's a thank you to the underwater film crew who put themselves in danger. I mean, it seemed like it was just kind of an extension of that gimmick that was on the poster that you just mentioned to just try and, I guess, set the mood. Like, hey, everything you're about to see is absolutely real, and I guess to make it more exciting, which it doesn't.
It doesn't. It does not at all. And then as the credits roll by, we see the boat called the Snowbird. Now, we see a man, he's fishing, and the guy that's helping him fish seems really pissed for some reason.
Yeah,
like
younger guy.
Yeah, he's got like the older, the Snowbird has his line out there. He's talking about catching a shark. And the other guy the entire time is standing behind him, rolling his eyes, like making emotions, just giving him a hard time for
These
no
damn
reason.
Tourists.
Exactly. He catches something. He hooks a shark. Now, I have to say, it was pretty cool, I thought. They actually looked like they were reeling in a shark. I want to preface for anyone who is interested in watching this, I think there is animal cruelty within and throughout the entire film.
Oh, absolutely.
I think they are actually abusing these sharks.
I didn't see any disclaimers in the end, kind of like, oh, no sharks were harmed in the making of this. They 100% harmed sharks and killed, I think, quite a few. So yeah, definitely if you're squeamish in any way about violence towards animals in your movies, stay far, far away from Mako Jaws of Death.
So the guy is trying to reel it in, and the younger guy who's obviously like captaining the boat or helping out with the boat
Mhm.
eventually takes the fishing pole away from him. He's like, I got it. And then we see a guy, and this is something that is highly noticeable throughout the entire film, that when they start filming the guy scuba diving, it is shot in a totally different area.
Oh, absolutely. And he comes out of nowhere. I mean,
Exactly.
that whole scene where like you said, he hooked the tourist, he hooks something, and the guys take over, and then we just cut to and suddenly there's a scuba diver under the water by the shark that's been hooked. Has not been established of where he came from. I mean, it looks like they're out in open ocean. So where did this guy come from? Is he just hanging out there waiting for people to hook sharks? I guess
He's a really good swimmer. He's just hanging out there. He cuts the line. It's a metal line, so he uses a pair of pliers. Now, the shot of him underwater is clearly like you could stand up in it. It's not that
very
deep.
shallow, very shallow.
And
Yeah.
the Mako shark is with him. The shark kind of like skitters away, but then it shows the boat, and the boat is fairly large. I don't think a boat of that magnitude could like work in a shallow area like that. I'm no boat expert,
Ain't
but
no boat, ain't no shark expert.
I would almost assume that he's not catching these sharks in this area, and this is something that goes on a lot in the film. And then he starts swimming towards the boat, the guy in the water.
Right.
Now, he's wearing a pretty bright blue scuba suit. It's clear as day. How do they not notice this guy?
That's a good question. I mean, the way that they frame it, I mean, it looks like he's supposed to be sneaking up to the boat. And I mean, I guess the idiot fishermen are just focused on hey, what cut the line? But yeah, how did they not see this coming? I mean, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. And like you said, it's super shallow there. So, I mean, him and his bright blue scuba suit would stick out like a sore thumb against the sand and the water. There's no way I bought that he was sneaking up to that boat.
Never. And then he finally comes on board, and I love that he still keeps the scuba mouthpiece in his mouth.
And the mask on. Yeah, he's still breathing out of the tank for some reason.
It's like a Darth Vader scene. Like he boarded the ship and he's going to start interrogating people. Another thing that I noticed is that his gear is labeled out the ass. Decor is the brand. Like it's on everything. It's on the tank.
I didn't actually notice that. That's funny.
It's on the belt buckle. It's on like the film looked so bad on Amazon Prime. It looked like a straight VHS rip.
It
but
did look pretty bad.
I could clearly see decor all over this guy's stuff.
Maybe they were hoping for some kind of product placement. You know, they just used this scuba brand and hey, look at all this advertising you're getting for free. Throw us a couple of bucks, which I'm sure they do not.
At least 10. And then the older guy who is doing the fishing goes, "Hey, I'm George Benson. I'm a banker."
Introduces himself to the creepy scuba guy who didn't take his shit off after he got onto their boat unasked.
Yeah, so weird. I don't think I would ever start like pleading for my life by going, "Hey, I'm Phil. I'm a software engineer. Blah blah blah.
Please don't kill me, please."
So the scuba diver picks up a hook. Now, Greg, did he hook him through the neck or did he just hook him around the neck?
I was trying to figure that out myself. I'm glad you asked because we see no blood.
None.
So and that's why maybe said, okay, either they were just really cheap and the actor didn't want to get all bloody, or they hooked around his neck, even though it was a really sharp, like a barbed fish hook almost.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't no fishing expert.
Yeah.
We are not experts on anything, are we?
We're not. Definitely nothing has to do with aquatics, boats, anything like that.
Fish, nature, water.
So he either hooks him through the neck or he hooks him around the neck and he knocks him off the boat. And he goes over to the side of the boat and like knocks on the boat as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, to sort of get the shark's attention, which works instantaneously for some reason.
And then he goes over to the other guy and kind of just knocks him off the boat as well. There's a captain and there's a helper. You very rarely ever see the captain. And this is within the first 5 minutes, so who really cares? He knocks the other guy off the boat. Jackie looks at me and she goes, "He's a shark whisperer." And I was In my head, I was like, that's a stupid statement, but oh my God, was she right?
Lo and behold. Yeah, I
And
mean, I don't know about you. I mean, were you surprised at all that they axed these characters off so fast? I thought for sure that the young, like the bearded guy with the dark hair, who was kind of making fun of the tourist, I thought for sure he was going to be our lead guy, just
yeah,
based on his whole look and his demeanor.
because I mean, as soon as they introduced the killer, the scuba guy obviously is the killer. I was like, okay, the sharks are going to be incidental throughout the entire film. These two are going to get attacked, and like the plot driving forward is going to be the captain and his helper trying to find the killer, and and there's
Right.
just going to be sharks in it. But no, as soon as the two guys get knocked into the water and he starts knocking on the boat, the sharks just start ripping these people apart
Instantly.
instantly, like no ifs, ands, or buts. And then George screams, which it was a pretty funny scream, and
I
we
wrote
can,
that down too. What is this guy's scream? It was
yeah, he's
"Ah!"
we can only assume his fate because we don't get to see him die.
Right.
And
It was
then
almost like it was kind of like almost the kill, the way that it was shot, it was kind of almost like a slasher movie. I
yeah,
mean, the way, because like you said before, he kept the mask on, he kept the goggles on, and you think, okay, they're gonna keep this guy's identity a secret through the movie, and this is how he kills people. He uses the sharks as kind of his weapon.
exactly like the beginning of Friday the 13th, where
Exactly.
they killed the boy, and then the girl goes and then it turns
Ah,
like bright white, right?
right.
We never see these guys again. And then the
Nope.
credits start. And one thing I noticed, or actually, I take that back. Sorry. Two things I noticed throughout the credits. Two actors have nicknames. There was Harold
Right.
Odd Job Sakata, who is
Right.
Odd Job from the James Bond films.
Okay, I was going to ask you if he was or not because he looked kind of familiar, and obviously Odd Job was his nickname. And
Yeah.
I didn't look at the dates for when this came out, if it came after that movie or not. But okay,
Yep.
so it was the actual Odd Job then. Okay.
It is Odd Job. And then there's Milton Butterball Smith,
Whoa. Okay,
which,
I could kind of guess who that was.
yeah, we'll see if we can guess who it is. Just really odd. And then it also said special guest star.
Okay, right? I noticed that too. That's a TV thing, isn't it?
That is a TV thing. There's no special guest stars in films.
They're just stars.
Exactly. And it's not like there was any actor in this that was so popular that would be like giving a cameo. It's not like, a famous actor from the 70s, like, I don't know, Gene Hackman. It's not like cameo by Gene Hackman.
Right.
No one in this movie is that popular or famous that they should be getting some kind of shout out for being a special guest star.
Because I mean, wouldn't in that scenario, like you said, there's guest stars aren't a thing. I mean, wouldn't that just be if there was some big name actor who kind of came in for a scene as sort of a side character? That's usually they credit them as, you got your stars and then with so and so.
Exactly.
That's usually how they do
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, which they did not do here. Yeah, I mean, that was what made me think was this a TV movie or are they just idiots?
I think they're just idiots. So the credits go over and he starts taking off his gear. Credits over. The scuba guy takes off his gear and he stares right into the camera.
For like a couple seconds.
Yeah.
In a really weird way.
And I hit pause and it's been 10 minutes and this guy still hasn't said shit. It's the killer, the guy in the scuba gear, still hasn't said anything. We don't know his name. This is now obviously the main character of the film. And
which
then
is really annoying. I mean, I think I actually said out loud when I was watching this, this isn't our protagonist, is it? The guy who just murdered 3 people with sharks in the first scene. Come on, movie. And yeah.
This is who we're following. And that's when we get introduced to Sonny Stein, who's played by Richard Jekyll. Now, Greg, Richard Jekyll has quite a long career in film. But what if I told you that Richard Jekyll was nominated for an Oscar?
I would say bullshit.
Exactly,
and
right?
Not believe you and stick my fingers in my ears. La la la.
His acting was so atrocious in this throughout the entire thing. And when watching the film, I like to read about the actors and stuff like that as I'm going
Mhm.
through the film, because most of the time I don't really need to pay too much attention to the movie.
You don't.
He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in the 1971 film Sometimes a Great Notion. Never seen it, but the
Never
fact
heard of
that
it.
he got nominated for an Oscar is mind-blowing, because he's so
Yeah.
wooden and stiff and emotionless throughout this entire film.
Yeah. I mean, that maybe kind of going back to the credits. I mean, maybe he was the headliner and it just didn't click with us because we didn't recognize him. But I mean, maybe, yeah, it sounds like that he was like their big get when they were casting this. Oh, this guy, he was nominated for, big major awards, and oh, he's going to be great, but he totally phones it in. It's terrible.
Exactly. Very, very weird. So we meet Richard Jekyll's character, Sonny Stein, and he pulls up into his boat dock, and there's a
Mhm.
doctor there waiting for him. And this doctor is trying to get his sharks.
Right.
And there's going to be a lot of references to Sonny's sharks throughout the entire podcast and film. The doctor is wanting to film the birth of a shark in his lab because it's never been done before.
You know how sticky science can be, he
Yes.
said.
It's and exactly his reasoning for wanting to do this is so utterly insane. He goes, nobody's filmed the birth of a shark before. We need to see the full life cycle of a shark. We've obviously seen sharks dead. We've seen them live, but we
Mhm.
need to see them be born so we can get, do they come out as killers?
Is
And
that is actually is that a line he says?
it's pretty almost close to what he has said. I was
Oh,
trying to
geez.
write down his dialogue, but
It was weird,
I
yeah.
put in here confusing dialogue. The guy was talking in these weird circular logical like speeches
Yeah,
where
he kept talking about, oh, it's got to be proven under laboratory conditions, and
exactly.
you know how scientists are, and they'll never believe it unless they see it on film in a tank. And I mean, really odd motivations.
And when he said that, when they need to see it happen live in a tank, Sonny goes, no one's seen them get pregnant under lab conditions, as if Sonny's implying that somehow this shark had sex with another shark and like it was a fake shark birth or it's a fake shark baby.
Yeah, this whole notion of no one believing that it's ever happened because someone like 10 people with a PhD didn't observe it directly is like ludicrous.
It's insane. It's insane thinking. And then Sonny goes, if you put a shark in a tank, it'll go crazy.
Right.
And the doctor tries to goad Sonny into giving him the shark by saying they're about to put bounty on sharks. And Sonny Stein, which I love the name Sonny Stein,
Sammy
it rolls
Stein.
right off the tongue. Sonny Stein gets confused by the word bounty, Greg.
Bounty, what, like they'll hunt them for money?
He's like, what's a bounty? What are you talking about? I'm like, this guy, obviously, he's like in his 40s. How does he not know the definition
The word bounty.
of the word bounty? And
what an idiot.
The doctor even kind of defines it for him. He's like, yeah, they're going to allow people to go out into the ocean and kill sharks, and they're going to get rewards for like how big they are and how many that they kill.
Yep.
And you can tell that Sonny is getting pissed because he doesn't talk and he looks very tense, which is pretty much his only emotion throughout
His
the
default
entire
emotion.
film.
Yeah, just confused, tense silence.
So weird. And then he's like, do you want to meet Matilda? And you're thinking, who the fuck is Matilda?
Oh, he's a crazy idiot who names his sharks.
Sonny Stein shows us his sharks. And there's Matilda, the female, who's pregnant. And then Sammy, the male shark, which I don't know about you, but having your main character named Sonny and having your male shark named Sammy is pretty confusing when you're hearing the dialogue going back and forth and people are like Sonny, Sammy, Sammy, Sonny.
Yeah, and he refers to the shark Sammy quite a bit. I mean,
quite a bit.
Fairly often whenever he's talking about his friends or his sharks. I mean, the way he refers to the sharks in general is just kind of weird, but
constantly refers them as family. It's my family.
His family, yeah, that's right.
He's like the Vin Diesel of sharks. And he starts explaining to Matilda and Sammy, the shark, that there's going to be a bounty on him. Something that we just heard like 2 minutes ago. He's reiterating the dialogue again already, which usually that's used for something that's done 30 minutes down the line, right?
Hey, audience, remember that this thing that happened, this is the plot that's being driven.
Exactly. Like a quick reminder, but he goes on about the bounty for a few minutes talking to these sharks, and you're thinking, how the hell do these sharks understand what this man is saying?
Oh yeah,
They're obviously...
you think he's just insane at this point. I mean, as soon as he opens that, he's got like a little hatch in the bottom of his, I don't know if it's a houseboat or if it's just, on stilts over the water, but he opens his hatch in his bedroom, I guess. And is like you said, he's kind of like recounting, this whole conversation he had with the scientist talking about the bounties.
Yeah.
And he's I think he's like going insane because he's talking to, he's talking to the sharks. He's named them. And then he makes it sound like they're talking back to him. Like he reacts to things they're saying as, oh no, don't look at me like that. Don't say that. He's actually hearing these sharks talk in his head.
Which is really weird. You think that they would play some kind of like sound effect or musical cue to show the telepathy between the man and the shark, but there's nothing there. There's just awkward silence.
Yep, not a thing.
Usually there's,
think he's insane.
Usually like in older movies, it's something like, like a or something like that. Like he's hearing something. There's like something supernatural happening, but it's just him looking really tense. And then he leaves his house and he goes to like a restaurant where
the diner. Yes.
The diner where we meet. This is the actor named Butterball.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It is. And in fact, he calls him Butter.
Wait,
I don't know if you noticed that. The character's name is Butter.
Oh,
Butter is played by Milton Butterball Smith, who's only been in one other film named Stanley. So obviously we've never seen this guy in anything else ever before, which is kind of surprising because he seemed to have like
he's entertaining.
He had an entertaining presence about him. And Butterball and Sonny Stein are talking to each other. And Butterball's like, I don't know why I'm flipping burgers. I used to be a Marine. And Sonny's like, do you have any food for my family? Like,
oh, that's right. Yeah. The scraps that he gets from him.
Butterball gives Sonny Stein scraps for food to feed to his sharks. And even Butter is like, how's the family doing? Which you think, like, does Sonny Stein have like a family outside of these sharks? But no, Butter is just as insane as Sonny Stein is.
I still can't. I just can't take it seriously when you refer to this character as Butter.
As Butter? Do you think Milton Butterball Smith requested his character's name to be Butter? I
mean, probably yes. I mean, maybe he was just he couldn't get the hang of being called another name. Like he wouldn't answer to some character's name, so they just renamed his character Butter so he would respond in a realistic way. It's
like when Joey Lawrence is in a film and he's always called Joey.
Always named Joey, yeah.
Like, this guy is so thick, just call him Joey.
Hey, Butter.
Hey, Butter. So they start talking. Butter's like, yeah, here's some food, make sure the family gets it. And there's another guy in the restaurant who's like, I killed 50 sharks this week. 50
Bonkers.
Sharks. That sounds like an insane amount of sharks, right?
Oh yeah, just the way in general. I mean, and that's not even the first time. Even when the scientist was referred to it, all of these characters in this entire movie, all the background kind of window dressing characters, they all make it sound like this particular part of Florida is just absolutely overrun with sharks. Everyone is constantly talking about all of the sharks and how they're constantly killing and eating people, and they're a menace. And we're just, this character, like you said, just is bragging about the dozens and dozens of sharks that he's killed in this weird offhand kind of fashion.
Which, it's Key West. I've been to Key West. We've both at one point lived in Florida. You lived up in northern Florida. I lived in central Florida. Have you ever been down to Key West?
No, I don't think I've ever actually been down there. I think the furthest south in Florida that I ever went, was like Disney World or something.
Okay. Well, then believe me when I tell you, it is wall-to-wall sharks down there. I'm just kidding.
Is it really?
No, I have never seen a shark the entire time while I lived in Florida.
Say, you're full of shit, my friend.
I am.
But I see Mako start Jaws of Death. I'll believe anything.
I've never seen a shark. I lived in Florida for like 10 years. Never seen a shark in the wild. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that they don't exist. Every year you hear of shark incidents and whatnot. But from my own personal, worldview, I've never seen a shark in Florida, especially when I go down to the Keys.
Right. Because again, we ain't no shark experts, but I didn't think they came down that far south. I thought it was more of a problem on like the Atlantic coast, further north. I mean, I know sharks have been spotted in Maine quite a bit, but yeah, I mean, I just didn't think that they went that far south.
Yeah, I don't know. The shark information that I pulled up for this podcast doesn't include. I probably should have looked at shark sightings in Key West.
Right.
But I did not look that up for this one. So after we hear about this guy slaughtering 50 sharks, we cut to the Rustic Inn located in Key West, Florida, which is no longer around.
Oh, you looked it up?
I did look it up. I mean, I don't know if it was a real place or not, but I mean, the place looked cool, right? And I would assume that this film is so low budget that they definitely didn't have set money to build this place.
True,
right?
Yeah. I mean, clearly the budget was lacking. So, I mean, I guess it was kind of a weird choice. I mean, they must have known people who owned these and managed these restaurants, because we get 2 scenes in a row of him first in like a diner where we meet Butter and he's got that weird conversation with the guy who killed 50 sharks. And then immediately after we go to, okay, now he's going to a different shitty club, but now it's like a nightclub or something. It's a bar. And
so Sonny Stein goes into the bar and he goes up to the bartender and he's like, hey, can I have a beer? And the guy is like, oh, this one's on me. He just got free food from Butter. And now he goes to this bar and they're also giving him free stuff, which Sonny Stein doesn't seem to be that personable of a person. So I'm wondering, what the hell did he do to earn all this free stuff?
That's a good point. I mean, everyone kind of seems to hate him or think he's at least a weirdo. I mean, Butter is the only one who has talked to him with any kind of respect. But I mean, Butter seems like kind of a weirdo too, if he's, also referring to this guy's pet sharks as family. So
exactly. So he sits down at the bar and we see a woman swimming it through a window. It's like one of those like tanks. The woman's in it. She's swimming around. It's supposed to be sexy. It's supposed to be like, ooh, look at her. It's so hot. It's like a mermaid.
I guess
it doesn't do anything for me.
No, it was awkward because he was just kind of, doing flips underwater, and it was really awkward.
I was more impressed by her lung capacity. It seemed like she never went up for air.
That's
right?
True. She was clearly underwater. You could see her a couple times kind of like paddling her way down, but we never see her go for breath at all.
And then I hope this doesn't come off as offensive, but my note goes, holy shit, that guy is fat. He's wearing a cup necklace.
Okay, so this is the character who we see quite a bit of later, who is apparently the owner of the bar. And when you mentioned in the credits that there was someone with the nickname, was it Butterball?
Yeah.
I thought for sure that this is the guy you were talking about, because he has sort of maybe not the look of butter, but I mean, he's got the sort of skin color and this kind of like greasy, sweaty sheen. I mean, he looks like a bratwurst.
Yes. He is disgusting, and he's shirtless throughout most of the film.
The entire movie.
I thought his name was Arnie. A lot of my notes say Arnie, but looking it up in the credits, his name is Barney. Buffy D plays Barney. Now, Buffy D, again, a lot of B movies, nothing that I think we've ever seen afterwards. I think he was in an episode of Kojak, but nothing that I would have gone like, yes. Okay. This is Buffy D.
Buffy D. Yeah, I didn't recognize him. I thought he looked sort of familiar, like he could have been in, like a Godfather type of movie. He kind of, he looked and kind of almost sounded like he had an Italian accent briefly there. But yeah, that's what I thought I might have seen him from. But yeah, no, I did not recognize him at all.
So Barney is walking around with his cup necklace, and he's pouring liquid inside of it and then drinking it from the cup, like in succession. He could have just cut out the middleman. Yeah. Exactly. And Jackie was very confused by the necklace. She was like, what the hell is that on there? And I'm like, it's a cup. He's pouring stuff in there, and then he's drinking
out of it. And you say you use the word necklace. I mean, I feel like that almost doesn't do it justice because this thing is huge. I mean,
Huge.
it's like a 12-ounce glass
Yeah.
hanging from a giant gold chain around this guy's neck.
It's one of those things where like we need this guy to have some kind of like pop or flair
His gimmick, yeah.
to make him distinguished and not just like, hey, he's the fat one in the film. So they're
Yeah.
like, give him a cup necklace. Barney goes up to the bar and he starts complaining that no one is watching the girl in the tank, which there clearly are.
Oh yeah, they after she gets out of the tank, they applaud. The
Yeah.
entire bar is like, "Woo, yeah, awesome."
Odd Job and his buddy, whose characters' names Pete and Charlie, are getting plastered in the bar, and they are watching this woman in the tank, clapping. They're loving it. Sonny Stein is there, front row, watching it, and I mean, I guess you could say that he's loving it. He's definitely watching her intensely.
You wouldn't know from it the look on his face, which again is just this sort of tense, stoicism. I'll be generous with my word there, but yeah, he just looks like he's got nothing but going on behind the eyes.
Exactly. And it's not like Barney is charging people to watch this event. So even if there's like 1,000 people in this bar and they're not paying attention to her, what's the big deal? He's still making money. Yeah. People are still drinking beer.
Although they're giving out free beers to every idiot with a shark family. I mean, maybe they're not making money.
Yeah, true. But yeah, you're right. So she leaves the tank and people are clapping. They're applauding. Pete and Charlie are loving it. And she gets pissed for some reason. She kind of like stomps her foot down and goes like, ugh, and then she storms off. Then a cop comes up to the bar, and I thought this was such an awkward moment. So awkward.
Right next to our shark guy, our Sonny guy.
The cop comes up. He's right next to Sonny, but he's talking to the bartender. And the cop goes, yeah, there's 3 people killed out on the ocean today. And Sonny is looking super intense, like on the opposite direction of the cop.
Taking the longest sip from his beer that I've ever seen. He just sits there with the cup to his mouth. Yeah, he actually drink from it.
Nothing. It's so weird. And then as soon as the cop gets done talking about it, Sonny like puts down the glass and he gets up. Not come on. Like if I was the cop, I'd be like, what the hell is that guy's problem? Obviously he was listening nervous. To me. Yeah. Sonny makes a beeline for the door and there's a shark decoration up on the wall and Sonny stops and just looks at it. He looks at it for like 10 to 15 seconds.
Oh, I like sharks.
Yeah. And then he leaves. And he immediately goes to the dumpsters.
As you do.
Looking for food, I'm assuming, for his family.
Got to get more. Butter did not give him enough scraps today.
Exactly. As he's rooting around in the trash, dumpster diving, though, the woman who was doing the swimming dance thing, the tank show, is heading towards her car. And her name is Karen. And she's played by Jennifer Bishop. Now, Karen is a total Karen in this film. Jennifer Bishop does a really good job of just being a really nasty person. And I can honestly tell you, I'm looking at her IMDb credits right now. This is the only thing that we've ever have seen her in.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you've seen the Mission Impossible TV show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have not. So yeah, no.
So
I mean, this is definitely the point. You mentioned that she's being a real Karen in this movie. I mean, this is the point where I realized that, okay, here we go again. We're watching a movie for this podcast where there are no redeemable characters whatsoever. I hate everyone. No one is likable. Maybe Butter. I'll give Butter the likable credit.
Exactly. Because as soon as she makes it to the car, Pete and Charlie from the bar come out and they try to rape her. They're like fondling her and she's like, get the hell away from me. And Sonny Stein does nothing. He does nothing to interfere. He just lets it go. Eventually Karen gets in her car. She drives away. Pete and Charlie get in their car and they drive away. And so does Sonny Stein.
Yep.
Now, I thought this was really weird because Karen gets in her own car and Pete and Charlie get into another car. Yet we find a little bit down the road, Karen on the ground with Pete and Charlie trying to rape her again. How the hell did they achieve that goal? They would have had to like ran her off the road and like pulled her out of the car.
You're right. Like there's no connective tissue there to when they leave in separate cars to her being on the ground in what this movie absolutely needed was an awful dark rape scene. There's no, we don't see how they got out of the cars. Yeah, did they run her off the road? I mean, there's clearly a scene missing, or maybe they were just too cheap to, they didn't want to damage anyone's car because they were like driving the director's car or something. I don't know. But yeah, it makes no sense how they got in that position.
And you're right. It's dark because it's rape, but it's also literally dark because you can't
cannot see
shit. There's no lights. They could not afford a light in this film because when they're filming at night,
it's night.
The illumination that you get from the moon, from the reflection of the sun, that is all you're getting.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I guess credit where credit's due, and they didn't try to do an awful, day for night thing, which I guess I'll throw them a bone for, but I still would like to be able to see what's happening in my movie, which I do not.
You can get away with like showing that it's nighttime by properly illuminating your characters. Exactly. This one was this part was really tough to get through, and not because of the rape, which is horrible. It's just you can't literally see anything. It's like blobs moving around the screen.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier the quality. We both watched it through Amazon Prime. I mean, it was like you said, it could have been a VHS rip for how bad it was. So I mean, that did no favors to this dark scene where we basically just saw blobs of the back of people's shoulders and clothes just kind of moving around in the scene. So really, the only reason we knew what was going on is because of the sound, which was also kind of not great.
Exactly. Yeah. No, the sound sucked too. So Sonny Stein pulls over and he's like, "Hey, Pete. Hey, Charlie, get off Karen." And he immediately starts busting out some kung fu moves.
That's a very charitable way to describe it.
He gets into the position and I'm like, oh shit, he's going to do it. An Odd Job is not like, he's not physically imposing. He's a very well-built man. He has muscles.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
He looks intimidating. You would think that he's definitely going to be able to beat up Sonny Stein, and he gets him like this bear hug move, and Sonny's like screaming, and I forget how he gets out, and then Sonny just starts beating his kidneys, and Charlie beelines it into the forest.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me. So I've been speaking personally. I recognize no one in this movie up until this point, where we see. I think it might have been earlier where we see that these two lackeys, Odd Job and Charlie, for the first time. But Charlie, I actually recognized. He played the head gangster guy in Adventures in Babysitting. Bleak, yeah, he's the guy where they're in that warehouse and they have to sneak out with the Playboy magazine with all the stolen car information on it. He's the guy who chases after them, the kind of like guy with a gravelly voice. And I think it was the voice that tipped me off, that he kind of had that voice, and then you kind of see it in his eyes too. I don't know. I've got a weird memory for random character actors, and this was the only thing in this movie in terms of people I recognized that jumped out at me. And this was the scene, weirdly, when it was dark, was when it kind of clicked, because you were struggling to hear what was going on in the scene, so you're really listening to everyone's voices, and something about it just clicked about his voice sounded really familiar. So yeah, lo and behold, here he was. Which he probably kind of was, but
career. Interesting. Good catch there. So Charlie runs off in the woods, and Odd Job gets beat up, and Sonny Stein goes up to Karen, and he's like, "Okay, like, come with me." And she immediately gets pissed again. She's like, "Why can't I take my car? I have a flat tire. Help me change it." And Sonny's like, "I got to go feed my family." And she's giving him shit for that.
Yeah. Rightfully so. He did, fight off these would-be rapists, but he's being a real creep. I mean, again, everyone in this movie is a totally non-likable character, and she's clearly, giving him shit for your family. You got to feed your family, huh?
Which, as far as she knows, it's a legitimate family.
Right.
Like, it could be his baby. He's like, "I got to feed my baby." She gets in her car, and she's essentially like, "Fix my car." And he's like, "No, you can get in my car, but I'm going to be late. So you better hurry up right now." And
stupidly, she obliges.
Yeah, she goes.
Get in my van.
So they start driving, and she starts talking down to Sonny Stein. She's calling him like sport and stuff like that, kind of like at first just being really demeaning towards him. And then she realizes that Sonny doesn't take any shit. And so she flips it around and she starts being sweet on him. And she was like, "Oh yeah, you were really great saving my life, and I do really appreciate it. Maybe you can just take me home." And Sonny doubles down and goes, "I got to go feed my family. I have to go home." And then she immediately starts turning mean again. And they finally pull up to the boat, and she's like, "What the hell is that for?" It's like, "That's how I get home. I live on an island. I had to take a boat to the island. It takes about 40 minutes round trip," he says.
Yeah, it was a really bizarre kind of plot choice where, yeah, he's trying to, he saves this woman. He said, "Okay, you get in my van, I'll take you home." But then he parks where he left his boat and just tells her to wait there for, 45 minutes while he drives his boat back to his house, feeds his shark family, and then comes back on, "Then I'll drive you home."
Exactly. He's like, "You can either wait or you can walk. Your choice." And she goes, "Wait, I'll just go with you."
Which,
And
again, a very, very definitely a thing that a sane person would do. Follow
they
the creepy guy back to his island where he feeds his family.
exactly. Now, they don't show her getting in the boat. And there was a moment where he is debarking the boat, or unbarking,
Disembarking?
disembarking.
Yeah.
He's getting off the boat, and
Get off the boat. I ain't no
you
word
don't
expert.
you don't see her. And I'm like, "Oh my God, she didn't get on the boat. This is insane."
She's waiting in the van. I thought that too. Yeah.
And then her head pops up, and then they're like, "Oh, okay." So she actually did come. And he's like throwing, the bags of meat and scraps off the boat. And then
Mhm.
eventually they get inside the house, and he was very invested on feeding these sharks. And then he gets like confused, or he gets off his course, and she goes, "Oh my God, you've been shot, or you've been hurt." And he's like, "Oh, that's nothing."
Oh yeah,
She's like,
notices like a scratch because I think what's his name, Charlie, like when they're fighting, he hits him with like a bottle or something in the shoulder.
"Yeah." And he's like, "What are you gonna do? Play nurse now?" And she's like, "Well, you got anything around here I can patch you up with?" He doesn't care, but he sits down and he's humoring her. And then and I can't believe it, we haven't brought this up. She points to his chest and goes, "What's that necklace?"
Oh, that's right. So I
Now,
think, where do we see that for the first time? Was that in the beginning scene where he kills the tourists on the boat?
I think it's when he like takes off all of his gear.
That's right. Yeah.
It's underneath the wetsuit. Now, what we forgot to say, and it's actually really critical to the entire film, Sonny Stein is wearing this dream catcher necklace thing that has a shark tooth in it. It
Yeah,
looks
it's kind of like a circular medallion. I think it's got jewels and stuff in it. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, it's kind of, you know,
It has a
gilded.
super glued jewel on the shark tooth.
Yes.
It looks horrible.
As do all the
And
props in this movie. It looks
yes.
like garbage.
And he's like, "You won't laugh at me if I tell you how I got this?" And which I thought was so weird. And she's like, "No, I won't laugh at you." And he's like, "Okay, I got it in the South Seas, in like a southern Philippine island."
And we get this kind of like shimmering flashback thing. And actually, I think that kind of got a groan out of me because I was, oh god, here we go. We get a stupid flashback to a different wooded jungle that also looks like Florida,
Yes,
coincidentally.
it looks exactly like Florida. um, he's like, "I got hired by a salvage company to get Japanese scrap from World War II." So he's down in the Philippines. They're in the water. They're scrapping a whole bunch of Japanese fighters and probably a bunch of other World War II relics,
Mhm.
which I think is weird. This is 1970 something. Are people still doing that? The World War was over in like, you know, before the
30 years
50s.
ago. I
Yeah.
mean, I would have thought that, yeah, I thought that was a weird choice too, because if they're going to salvage metal, like presumably from the hulls of these ships that have sunk, or like you said, fighter jets or something, not jets, planes, you'd think that all of that would have rusted beyond belief at this
Yeah.
point. What salvage value is there? I mean, unless they're looking for something like gold or some kind of like other materials that would still be valuable after 30 years sitting in salt water. I don't know.
Exactly. And I think you said it. Sonny Stein says that they found gold
Mm,
when they were looking for
okay.
those Japanese fighters. and some bandits attacked his camp and killed his people. Bandits
Got it. I'm with you.
in the Philippines. Not saying there aren't bandits, but it's just a really weird word to use to describe that some bandits came into his camp and killed people. He even said, he was like, yeah, they were after 3 gold bars. Now, it shows Sonny Stein running through the forest, and there's the worst ricochet sound effects.
Oh my
ever.
God. You wrote that down too. Okay. Because they play it. It's clearly the same sound effect. I mean, it's like, that if you can all imagine it, it's that sound that you hear in movies where a bullet kind of ricochets off of metal or something hard like concrete.
Yep.
But they play it 5 or 6 times in rapid succession. Like every time this gun fires, it's ricocheting off of something.
It's insane. And the only thing around them is the jungle. It's the forest floor or wood, which I don't believe a bullet would really ricochet off of that well.
No. I mean, I think that they make that sound a couple times after they're in, he kind of runs out of the woods and jumps in the water, and they're kind of on the shore, kind of firing into the water at him. And you still hear the sound, even though they're firing at water. It makes no sense.
It's insane. He eventually gets to the water, and there's just sharks waiting for him in there. And like his monologue over the the scene is like
flashback. Yeah.
Then I had to make a choice. I could either get attacked by man or attacked by shark.
Dun, dun.
And he goes right into the water, and the sharks are pretty much ignoring him. They're going, he kind of like moves one aside. Really weird way to describe it, but he's
he's touching it. I mean, he's getting his hands on him,
and he's like pushing the shark in the water to get away from him. And the shark immediately goes for the guys with the guns and just start ripping them apart. So Sonny gets to the other side of this inlet, and he comes out the other side, and there's a man sitting there, a man sitting on a hill with a shark statue behind him. So apropos.
Out of nowhere. I mean, I think he's got, robes on. He kind of looks he's kind of got like a Shaolin monk look to him. Out of nowhere, he says nothing as he gets out of the water. I don't think they say anything to each other at all.
They don't, which is really weird, because you would think in the description, if I was telling you a story and I was like, then I came upon an old man sitting on a hill with a shark statue, I would probably also tell you what the fuck he says, but there isn't. There's no dialogue exchange between him. He turns around and he pulls out this box, and inside the box is the shark tooth medallion necklace. And he goes, when you wear this necklace, you will be friends with the sharks, meaning that sharks won't attack him. Also, I guess it also means that he has some kind of telepathy or ESP with the sharks.
Because the shark whisperer.
Because
Jackie was right.
She was right, which is insane that she called it 40 minutes, beforehand. And the reason why he's getting this necklace, I don't know if you caught this, because I almost didn't write this down.
Yeah, I have no idea why.
The inlet that he swam across was used to sacrifice people to the shark god.
Okay, so he just by having survived the swim across to where this guy was chilling with his amulet waiting to give it to someone, just the fact that he survived that was why he earned it, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
And then it cuts back to present day, and it doesn't show her laughing her ass off, which is insane to me that Karen is not laughing at Sonny Stein right now.
She promised not to laugh, I guess. And she's managed to do it.
This is the nicest thing done to Sonny this entire film. She goes like, obviously I don't believe you. I think you're an insane person. And then Sonny's like, I'll prove it to you. He opens up that hatch and he's like, Matilda? Sonny? Or not, Sonny. Sonny? No, wait, Sonny's his name. Sammy.
Sammy. You're absolutely right. It is impossible to keep these two characters, quote unquote, keep them straight.
And then they don't show up, and you think, okay, like maybe they're just messing around, like they'll be here in a second. But the thing of like, oh, he's crazy, it goes on way too long.
Yeah, I actually think she says, you're not playing with a full deck. Or like you're 52 cards short on full deck or something like that, like clearly mocking him. But lo and behold, they show up.
They show up like 4 minutes later. The scene goes on way too long. They show up and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you can do this.
Wow.
And then he goes You don't have to be afraid of any shark when you're with me. And
Ugh.
that has to be the creepiest thing said in the entire film.
And
Like,
again, let's set the scene again. This woman willingly came with this guy in his creepy van on his creepy boat to his creepy shark island.
yeah.
Yikes.
So you never get to see Sonny Stein feed his sharks because then it cuts to him dropping Karen off at her place. And it's
Right.
night still, Greg. So they left the bar. All right, so they went to the bar earlier. They had drinks. They all left. She almost gets raped. He goes home, feeds the sharks.
Tells her this long ass story about how he got the creepy medallion.
They go back to the van. They drive the van to her place. It's either the next night or it's the same night.
Oh yeah, that's like a really good point. I mean, clearly a ton of time must have passed. I mean, it's probably like 5 o'clock in the morning at this point.
And here's the creepiest part of the movie. She goes inside the house, and the fat guy,
Oh
Barney, is there.
God.
Barney and Karen are married, we find out.
Yes, after all of the abuse that he threw her way when she was quote unquote performing in the bar. And yeah, no, they're married. That's a thing that happened in this movie.
Which it doesn't seem like Barney is super rich. Sure, he has beachfront property, but Florida is, a peninsula, so there's a lot of beachfront property available. And it doesn't seem like he has any outlandish, stuff inside of his house. It's not like he has a really amazing car.
No.
So I'm not sure why
And
these
he's not a
two.
looker.
Yeah, he is definitely not. I'm not sure why these two are married. And she goes, she tells him about how Odd Job and Charlie were trying to rape him. And Barney pretty much brushes it off, and he's like, "Oh, that's just Odd Job and Charlie. They're just having fun." And
They're
she's
my
like,
guys.
I want you to call the cops, have them arrested, or I want you to sit on them.
I forgot about that.
She is going like, you are so monstrously fat that sitting on them
Just
will be a
sit-
punishment.
Going like right for the jugular. Jeez. Clearly they were in a very healthy relationship.
Exactly. He again brushes it off, and then they go outside where he waddles into the water, and he talks about this special netting that he has that protects him from having sharks go into the part of the water where he swims.
Right.
Essentially, he just has like this giant net in the water cordoning off his portion of the ocean.
Yeah, it's like kind of like suspended from buoys. It looks like, what they put in a lake to kind of keep kids from swimming out too far.
Exactly. So the
It's
undertow doesn't
cartoonish
get
looking.
him.
Yeah.
Living in Florida, I would be way more worried about crocodiles and alligators than a shark coming up into the water.
Yeah, it's a kind of a weird over preparation. I mean, I guess it makes sense in this movie canon where everyone is just constantly fighting off sharks left and right, like they're killing them like cockroaches. But yeah, in the real world, it makes no sense. And you're right, reptiles are clearly the bigger threat in that part of the country.
Exactly, especially down in Key West. I don't know where he's getting this logic from, but he's like, sharks can't get in here. This is a special net. And then they cut back to the bar. Now, Sonny shows up. He's at the bar with
Right.
Barney and Karen, and they're talking about buying a shark from Sonny, which Sonny's like, nobody owns a shark.
You can't own sharks, man.
We get it. We get that no one can own a shark. But Barney is giving him a bill of sale. Now, Sonny is a total idiot.
Yeah, you'd think that he wouldn't go around for this. Like, he had brought a shark to swim around in this tank, the same one that Karen was in, and I'm amazed that from everything that they've established about him so far, that he'd be willing to even entertain that option.
Exactly,
bringing them out of their natural habitat into a tank for, to perform basically.
This is Sonny's series of stupid decisions. Because Barney goes, I can't have anything in my bar that I don't own. And he even offers him money, and he's like, just sign the bill of sale. If you ever need the shark back, I'll go ahead and give it to you. It's no big deal. And even Karen's like, yeah, just sign the doc. It's okay. Like, we'll give you the shark back if you ever need it. And Sonny Stein signs the bill of sale.
What
Now,
a doofus.
That legally shows that Barney now owns the shark.
Nah, Phil, it's just a formality.
I
Just no
guess,
big
yeah.
deal. You got my word.
You got my word. And then Sonny goes out to his car, and you think like him and Karen have like a moment because Karen kisses Sonny. She's like, "Oh, thanks for the
Oh, that's
shark,"
right. She does.
and
Yeah.
she gives him a kiss, and then it shows Karen going back into the bar, and that's when you know Karen can't be trusted because she's basically like that loser just sold us that
One
shark.
nitty, he believed it. I mean, that's like this whole time, you don't have no idea what this woman's motivation is because she constantly seesaws from mocking him and thinking he's a weirdo, which he is, and having sympathy and almost like there's like a romantic connection between them. And again, like you said, she kisses him as he leaves the bar, and you think that, and it seems sincere, and then you
It
clearly,
does.
yeah, and then she's maybe being two-faced about it, but you spend the whole movie not really knowing if she's being sincere or not.
And yeah, that was the one thing that Jackie also kept bringing up. She's like, "Wow, she's so two-faced. Like she can't make up her mind. She
Yeah.
obviously doesn't like Barney, her husband. She
Hmm.
obviously doesn't like Sonny Stein, but she's playing both of them, but she's really not gaining anything out of any of this."
No.
So Karen comes back into the bar, and Barney starts talking about this plastic liner that can stop a tank.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, the liner he puts in the tank so that she can swim with the shark in the tank for a clearly, I mean, that's really gonna kick this tank show up a notch, is to have a shark roaming around in there too. But
Exactly. It was like, okay, I guess like a thick plastic, maybe it'll be able to stop a shark, because it's not like, a shark's jaw is deeper, right? It's not like it can really grab a hold of the liner
yeah,
and
it's not
stuff.
it ain't got thumbs. It's not gonna be able to get through. It's not gonna be able to swim through.
So if that wasn't enough, Barney also put a sonic device inside the tank that he is amplifying and making the shark go crazy. He's like torturing this shark with a sonic like device.
Yeah, it's a really weird touch because that's kind of it's a weirdly high tech thing for this sweaty idiot to have in his shitty floor show. I mean, why did he go through all of this trouble just to have what's essentially a fish tank? It
It,
was a weird choice.
and the other weird choice is the maniacal laughter for like 3 minutes of Barney
Yeah.
torturing this shark. He's just like playing with the knobs. He's like, ah!
It was kind of super villainy, wasn't it?
It was a very on the nose. And then it cuts to Sonny Stein at this aquarium area talking to the doctor again that we saw in the beginning of the film. And the doctor's reminding Sonny Stein about how special Matilda is and how they need to see the birth of this shark and how important it is to science to see the full life cycle of the shark.
Blah 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 blah. Science babble.
And Sonny Stein just keeps reminding him, like, okay, I'll do this, but you got to understand, Matilda is super important to me.
Right.
She's so important to me. He's just stressing this over and over and over again. And then I don't know where the hell Sonny Stein goes next, but then he sees a hammerhead strung up, and this is a
Yeah, yeah,
real dead shark.
yeah.
This
I mean,
shark is real.
the geography of it definitely doesn't make sense, is how he got there. But this is you're 100% right. It looks extremely real. It most definitely is real, and this is definitely the point in the movie where I wasn't sure in the beginning if they were actually hurting these animals, but this was, I mean, it was just pretty clear. Okay, they actually, for this production, they hired a fisherman to go out and kill a shark that they could film for this scene.
Now, there are movies like Cannibal Holocaust, which shows deplorable actions of people ripping turtles apart and killing real animals. And
Yeah.
let me just stress this. If you do not like seeing animals get killed, you should stop watching the movie right now because it only gets worse. So
Yeah.
Sonny Stein sees a hammerhead strung up, and it has a hook through its like nose, and it has its mouth gaped open. And this
Right.
dude is talking about how he hooked it, and Sonny Stein goes up there and he's like, "You didn't catch this shark with a fishing line." It's like, this thing's been shot with a harpoon gun, a shark killer. And
Shark killer.
he says shark, yeah, shark killer. It's a shark killer. And the guy's kind of like, oh, we don't know what you're talking about, bub. And then he finally fesses up to it that he bought a hammerhead shark for $20 from someone. Now, $20, that doesn't seem like a lot of money, even back in 1976.
Yeah, and that's nothing. Which I guess it plays into the fact that, as we established earlier, there are just sharks left and right. I mean, they're like coming out of the woodwork. They're everywhere. That's like nothing.
So Sonny Stein starts interrogating him in front of a crowd of people. And
Right.
eventually he's like, the Fanny Maria. They're on the boat called the Fanny Maria. And Sonny Stein's like, kind of points at him sternly, and he walks away. As Sonny Stein exits the scene, the man readdresses the crowd and goes, well, I killed this shark, and he poses with it, and everyone starts taking pictures of him.
They're still buying it for some reason.
Which goes to show you that people don't really care. They just want a picture of the dead shark.
Yeah, they just want those Instagram pics.
It's 1970s Instagram. It's gonna go in like their slideshow when they go back home.
There we go.
And they're like, "Hey, look at us! We saw a dead shark." And so it cuts to Odd Job on
Oh God, yeah.
on the bow of the boat with a gun, and he's holding the gun like an asshole. He's not holding the gun like a real person. It's either he's left-handed and he doesn't know how to hold the gun properly, or he just doesn't know how to hold a gun properly.
Yeah, it's like he's shooting the harpoon gun from the hip almost.
Yeah. So he's out there and he's like, ah ha ha, I shot it. And then it cuts to an underwater scene where Charlie has this stick and he pokes the shark in the head with it, a flash of blood, and then the shark is dead. Now, I was like, how did he kill that shark? There is an item called a hot stick or a shotgun stick. A shotgun stick is exactly what it sounds like. It is a stick that has a shotgun cartridge on it. You poke it, it shoots it, and the thing dies.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure it seemed plausible, but I wasn't sure because the shark died immediately, and it was okay. Wait, did he just stab that shark, or what happened there? And I wouldn't put it past this movie to make up some random easy shark killing stick because that's how this movie treats sharks. But okay, so that's a real thing that gets used.
It's insane. It's insane that this device exists. I could see it if like you were trying to rescue people on a boat, you needed something to protect yourself. The boat sunk. Like, let's protect ourselves from these sharks because we want to save the people inside the boat. But the fact that people are going out there and the fact that they used it in this movie to kill a shark, deplorable.
Yeah,
absolutely deplorable.
That's the thing. You described, he hits the shark with this thing and you see blood come out. Like, this is not a prop shark. They hit a real shark with this tool and clearly killed it on camera.
And then they cut to the boat. Charlie gets up on the boat. Pete's on the boat. Pete being Odd Job. And there are probably at least 6 to 7 real dead sharks on this boat.
Strung up from a rack.
And just like baking in the sun. But luckily our hero, I'll put that in quotes, shows up. Sonny Stein shows up to dispense justice. What does he do to Charlie? I can't remember. What does he use the shotgun? He uses the shotgun stick. He does, Charlie.
Yeah. I'm not sure how he dispatches Odd Job. I think this is another case where he uses the sharks. He kind of knocks Odd Job off into the water and does that knock on the side of the boat thing.
Oh, you don't remember how he kills Odd Job?
Is that not how he does it?
Oh, okay. So he uses shotgun stick on Charlie. Charlie falls off and the sharks like tear him apart. We don't see what happens to Odd Job in the immediate time right there. It cuts to like 2 guys on the shore talking to each other, and then they notice the boat coming in, and they're like, "Hey, that's Charlie and Pete." And then it cuts to the water with Odd Job being towed by a hook
in his mouth. Right?
In his mouth.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was like, this is so cool. This was like the coolest part of the movie. It was just a really cool shot of Odd Job being drugged by the boat. And then the boat crashes onto the shore and we're not really, don't really get to see too much after that.
Yeah. I mean, you don't see the guys again. I do remember this part. I forgot I couldn't put that together, but this is like you said, this is the kind of the coolest shot in the movie. And this is what you could definitely tell that this movie could have been something cool, because if this was a different premise where maybe a slasher movie and the gimmick was that the slasher, the masked killer who we thought was going to be the character in the beginning, that's the gimmick, is he uses these sharks and it's all kind of maritime themed kills. And like, this definitely feels like it could have fit in a movie like that.
Yes.
But then in this movie, you think, well, it's still a cool shot. You think, this guy is a psychopath. This is our protagonist. And this is how he dispatches and he maims them. Like, it's not like he's just, getting vengeance on them and just, killing them and then, like walking away from the scene. No, he has this premeditated idea of hooking this guy up to a fish hook. And then he strings up Charlie where the sharks were.
Yeah.
And plans this whole nice, like, scene of how he's displaying these bodies and running the boat into the dock. He's a psycho.
He is.
And he's my character.
It's insane that this is happening, but yeah. Sonny then goes back to the bar. He needs a drink after killing Pete and Charlie.
Yeah,
and he sits down at the bar and he notices that the fat guy is playing with the sonar thing, and he like confronts him and starts choking him. And Barney, his eyes are like bulging out of his head. He is not being able to like protect himself at all.
He's not defending himself at all. No,
he has to come to his fate of death. And Karen comes in and he's like, "Sonny, get off of him! You're killing Barney."
Starts slapping him, yeah.
And she calls him a sick sickie. Did you notice that? She's like, "You're a sick sickie." Is that
okay? Yeah, there are a couple choice lines that come out of her mouth at this point, but I didn't catch that one. You sick sickie.
Sick sickie. And then Sonny's like, "I want my shark back. I'm gonna take my sharks back." And then Karen and Barney are like, "You sold us your shark, man. We got a bill of sale saying that we own this shark." Yep. Sonny, I think it dawns on him, he's stupid.
Oh, geez, I did sign that doc, didn't I?
So, obviously, he can't rescue Sonny. No, wait, Sammy. He can't rescue Sammy. But who can he save? He can save Matilda. So then it cuts to the aquarium place again, mm-hmm. And he's going down a hallway, and he's like, "Hey, where's this guy at?" And the lady's
scientist
like,
man.
"Yeah, where's the scientist man at?" And the lady's like, "You mean Dr. Scientist Man?" He's down the hall. I'm sorry, but do people who are not doctors get upset when you don't refer to a doctor as a doctor? That's
a really good question. It was a weird choice to have this, what is essentially an extra, come in and correct him on his titling of the guy that he's looking for. I mean, Dr. Scientist Man, he's in the end of the hall and kind of gives him this stinky look.
If I was a nurse and someone was like, "Where's Greg?" And I'd be like, "Dr. Greg?" Recognize he's a doctor. I would be like, "Oh yeah, Greg, he's like right over there." I'm not going to get fired for not calling you Dr. Greg. This isn't the military. It's not like it's an official rank.
Yeah, I guess maybe this scientist guy is going to give her shit if he's not constantly called by doctor. I don't know.
It is the 70s, so who knows? So Sonny barges into his office, and the scientist is like, "You weren't supposed to be here until Monday." And
looking real nervous and kind of squirrely, and kind of shuffles over to this door that he clearly doesn't want our boy to go, snooping around in.
Exactly. So Sonny Stein opens up the door, and it shows the doctor beelining it down the hallway. And Sonny Stein gets upset because, again, warning, there's a real dead shark on the table, and it's Matilda.
No.
Matilda is dead. Now, if you think this scene is bad enough, Sonny Stein then goes over to a sink, and he pulls out a dead baby shark.
From a pile of dead baby sharks.
It's insane. It's insane. Now, Greg, you've been to Florida. You've lived there. Have you ever been to any of like the tourist traps on the coasts before where they sell dead baby sharks in jars?
No, I didn't realize that was a thing.
Okay. So anyone who ever visits Florida, go to like one of the offbeat tourist trap places, go inside where they sell their knickknacks. There is always a jar with a shark in it, and it's filled with formaldehyde. You can buy them. They're like $15. It is still very much a tourist thing to do.
That's like I had no idea that that was a souvenir thing. But
Yep.
ugh,
It is
that's gross.
horrible. So Sonny Stein is holding this baby dead shark, kind of like wiggling it around and stuff, and he's like apologizing to Matilda and how this shouldn't have happened to her, and that these were his babies and they're going to be part of his
Yeah.
family.
It's kind of, I mean, it's kind of gut wrenching, but not for the reason that the movie thinks it is. I mean, I think because this is the one scene where he actually tries to emote for the camera a little bit,
Yeah,
but it's totally not believable at all. But the fact that you as the audience realize that the makers of this movie actually killed a pregnant shark and took the baby sharks out of the mother for this actor to sort of, pick up and cry over yeah, that's the reason that it's kind of gut wrenching.
it's again, deplorable. I keep saying deplorable. It's deplorable. There's only a few movies, Greg, that I know of documented abuse to animals. Now, there's a movie called Milo and Otis. It's about a pug and a cat, and everyone knows there's like that famous scene with the waterfall. A lot of pugs, a lot of pugs, a lot of cats died doing that scene. Now, the worst one though, and again, they're all horrible, but in like the worst of the worst, there's always has to be one that's, the most
off the
worst.
scale.
Exactly. Do you know about the orangutan movies with Clint Eastwood? Every Which Way But Loose, Every Which Way But Here. He drives around with an orangutan and they like beat people up.
Oh God, no, I don't know, but I don't want to know where you're going with this, but I think I do.
So in the sequel, I believe it was the sequel, there was a craft service table and there was donuts on there. The orangutan went up, grabbed a donut, and started eating it. His handler beat that orangutan to death.
Oh God.
Yes. This is why we have laws and rules now in movies to keep animals protected, because stupid things like this movie and that movie and Milo and Otis, they like horrible people.
So that was like that. That's actually kind of interesting. There was a specific incident that kind of like, it was like a watershed moment, and actually was, there was, legislation, I assume, to protect them and
to protect
that's
animals.
What that movie was.
And it was insane. It was insane to read about it, because I like those movies. And then I was reading some trivia about it, and I read that part and I was like, holy crap, they beat an orangutan to death. But
yikes.
Let's talk about more shark death. So the doctor runs outside to a tank that, I don't know if you noticed, is leaking severely.
Is it really?
Yes. Behind him, the water is like pouring out of cracks. And he's talking to this guy who's feeding sharks. And the guy's like, oh man, these sharks are eating a lot of fish. Like, we're going to go broke. They
sure are hungry today, yeah.
And I don't know what the doctor was trying to achieve talking to this guy. I kind of like lost track of the dialogue. I don't know if he was like warning him, like, hey, Sonny Stein's on his way.
Yeah, I think what he said to because there's like a lab tech who's feeding the sharks. I think he said, go find Charlie and Oddjob. He didn't say Oddjob, but go find my
that's
lackeys.
Right. Yeah. He's like, go
find here quick.
Go find the lackeys that work for me and Barney, even though you never see the doctor and Barney talk to each other
together ever. Yeah,
exactly.
There's not a lot of lackeys for hire
in Key West.
These guys got the market on lock.
So little does the doctor know that those guys are dead. Sonny Stein shows up and he just picks the doctor up and chucks him right into the shark tank. Sharks rip him apart. And then it cuts to, we're back at the bar for the pre-hurricane party. Now, hurricanes, to my knowledge, don't just show up. They are forecasted quite a ways away, but it's never brought up in the entire film. Even in the background that there's a hurricane coming until now. And it is
suddenly it's like half an hour away or something.
It's like 30 minutes away. Sonny Stein shows up to the bar and he's wearing all black. He has finally transitioned into the bad guy. And it cuts to him outside and he takes his knife and he punctures the tank stopping plastic.
Oh, that's right. The plastic sheet. Yeah. Okay.
And he cuts it and he rips it so the shark can get through. And the bartender, meanwhile, is offensively horrible and bad at rousing a crowd.
Oh God, yeah. I actually wrote this down. So the curtains are drawn on the tank, and he stands up and gets ready to introduce this weird tank show with the shark now. And he says, first thing he says is already weird. He says, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and for the rest of you, I'm sure you know what you are."
Oh, horrible.
What does that mean?
It's kind of like the ladies and germs thing, right? Like,
Yeah,
horrible. Absolutely horrible.
yeah,
And then he comments that all the snowbirds have left, which snowbirds are old people who come from north
right.
during the wintertime to, be there in the nice warm
weather.
Florida heat. And then he said something so offensive. I don't even know if we should say it.
Yeah,
But it's pretty bad. And he makes references to having bones through people's like nose and stuff. It's horrible. We won't really get into it. He starts saying some really offensive things, and he says it more than once.
casually in conversation, trying to rouse a crowd, and I think there's some chuckles you get from the crowd. I mean, this is all totally normal things that he's saying.
Yes. And then he talks about how Karen's going to be swimming with the sharks, and
Wow.
everyone's kind of like amped up, and they open up the curtain, and she like immediately starts getting mauled by this shark.
She's like already getting mauled when they open the curtains.
And it was
comedy timing.
Yeah, it was awesome. But are you ready for this, Greg?
Mm-mm.
The shark that attacks and kills Karen in the water tank was supposed to be dead. Now, you've heard the word supposed to be, right? The shark was actually alive when it started attacking her, but they ripped all the shark's teeth out prior to the scene, so it wasn't able to hurt her.
Good.
So
geez. That's horrible.
There was some guy who was told, kill the shark and then rip all of its teeth out so we can film this scene. He did one job, but he forgot to do the other. He forgot to kill the damn shark.
See, that's like, okay, first of all, there's some poor PA on this set of this who got tasked with detoothing the shark, who was alive when it had its teeth removed.
Yeah.
Oh man, this
horrible.
This damn movie.
Yeah. So Karen is eaten. We don't get to see too much of the carnage. She's eaten, and I think we missed something, Greg. Oh my God, we missed something in between the aquarium and going to the bar. Sonny Stein visits the fat guy, and he
that's right.
Killed.
Because as this is what we needed in the movie is another scene of the giant bratwurst guy going for a night swim.
Yes. He gets into the water, and we'll make this really quick. Sonny Stein cuts his netting apart. He like
foreshadowing.
I love this part though. He like lifts up out of the water like a buoy, and immediately he's like, "Oh my God, Sonny, what do you want? Do you want money? Do you want this? What do you want?"
Begging for his life.
Sonny doesn't say anything, and the sharks rip him apart. All right, so now we've covered that. I can't believe we forgot about that part.
And the fact that we forgot about it is really telling, because you'd think that him was who I guess the movie wanted us to believe was the villain. It was not satisfying at all.
No.
You think, okay, oh yeah, this villain, he's gonna get his comeuppance. Nope. It was such a disappointing kill scene for a horror movie.
Because it's nighttime. And the water is so dark. You just see Barney going like,
rolling around in the water, and then cut to the rustic inn.
Yep. All right. So now we caught up. So Karen's dead, and immediately Sonny Stein, like, he jumps up on the bar and he goes like, "Leave the sharks alone. They just want to be left alone.
They're not evil."
And there's like cops there, and he's like, "That's the guy who's been killing everyone."
Yeah, that's a good point. Like they see, how did they make that leap? I mean, they were just kind of there. All they see him do is get on a bar and start defending the shark that just ate the lady. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a weirdo clearly, but they didn't see him they didn't see him cut the plastic. They didn't see him, cut the net onto Bratwurst guy's house. Like, I mean, they didn't see him do anything, and yet they're immediately after him.
Yeah. So immediately the cops are like, "That's the killer. Let's get him." And Sonny Stein jumps into the water, and he starts like grabbing onto sharks, and they pull him. At one point, the shark is going the Mako shark is going so fast that it's on pace with the boat, and Sonny reaches into the boat and pulls a cop off. And then he hitches another ride with another shark, and a cop shoots Sonny in the arm.
That's right. I forgot he actually did get shot because I mean, there's this whole chase kind of blurs together in my memory.
So Sonny Stein gets out of the water and he starts running, and then he gets shot again in the leg. So he's like grabbing his leg with his shot arm, and he's like, "Oh,
ouchie!"
And then he shows up in his house. Like, I guess the shark swam to his house, right?
Yeah, I guess. And mind you, there is a hurricane raging.
Yep.
Through the entire background of this chase scene. I mean, you could see they probably had big blowers off camera to kind of get the water rippling. And actually, for a second there, it looked like, that pattern on the water you get when you hover a helicopter over it in movies. Like I almost think that they blew part of their budget on that because it was surprisingly effective to look like the way that they got the water to move. Is like
it definitely looked like there was a storm.
Yeah,
I will agree with you there. Out of all the effects in the film, this was the most convincing effect.
They kind of pulled it off, yeah, which is a bizarre thing to do for a hurricane that, like you said, was introduced about 10 minutes ago out of nowhere.
So Sonny Stein gets into his house and he opens up the hatch and he's like, "I'm going home, Sammy. I'm going home." Sammy is now somehow in the ocean, yet he's stuck in a shark cage earlier. So that means that there's a scene where Sonny Stein goes into the water, grabs Sammy, and puts him back in the water.
Yeah, the whole shark jailbreak scene that we all really needed.
Exactly. The bartender then busts into the house, and he's like, "Sonny Stein," like, there's like a kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle. And these are the worst cops ever, by the way.
Yeah,
I think that first one that barges in, instantly gets the gun knocked out of his hand and then gets tossed into the water.
Then they're kind of like taken aback by Sonny Stein, and Sonny Stein's like, "I'm going home now," and then he jumps into the water, and then the sharks rip him apart.
It's such a that is another part of the movie. This get like an audible groan out of me because you see it coming a mile away. Like,
yes,
he's bleeding. He's bleeding like stuck pig, and he starts monologuing and talking to the sharks, and he's like, "I can't do it anymore. I'm too tired." And he's okay, come on, movie, we get it. He's either going to commit suicide by cops protecting the shark, or he's going to jump in the water and commit suicide by shark.
So then
he's over with already.
When he gets eaten by the shark, Jackie's like, "I guess the necklace got knocked off," because we never see it happen. And then it shows like a cop and the bartender looking at the necklace going, "I wonder what this is."
Well, see ya. And then
they
just leave.
A cop is like, "Why would the sharks kill him now?" And the bartender goes, "He just cared too much." And then that's the end of the film.
God damn it, movie.
Oh my God. What a film.
Yeah.
What a movie. It was insane from start to end. And it wasn't insane in the fact that there was just like shark kills all over the place. It was insane because you had to follow Sonny Stein and he's the worst.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point. The fact that, we thought going in that this would be, obviously more shark kills than we got, but I think we get the one in the beginning. And then I think it's probably halfway through before we get the next shark kill, which is his flashback to when he got the medallion for the first time. And then we get one or a couple more towards the end of the movie, but it's clearly I'm sure it was a budget thing that they couldn't do that as often as they should have, but it did not follow the pattern that you would expect from something like this that was essentially probably supposed to have been a slasher movie or a Jaws ripoff where there's a good shark kill a good beat like that every couple, 20 minutes or so, just to kind of keep the audience awake. But we get nothing.
You would want to see something like that. Yeah. And again, like you see movies like Deep Blue Sea. I don't know if you've ever seen Uncaged. There is once the attacks start happening, it's like every 10 to 15 minutes the shark shows up to kill someone.
Boom, boom, boom.
This movie from out the gate kills someone. Now, granted, so did Jaws, but Jaws is a different kind of movie. This is supposed to be like the Jaws on crack. It even shows that on the poster. you're going to get more shark kills. This movie's dangerous. But it was just so boring.
Yeah, they definitely they didn't live up to that gimmick that they showed in that first opening credit where these are all live shark footage. We didn't have any protective gear, and they were clearly trying to punch above their weight class in terms of number of actual like shark action shots, which we got barely any of.
Exactly. And I think some of it goes to the fact that they chose the Mako shark. The name isn't intimidating. If you went, Phil, there's a Mako shark over there, I'd be like, okay. If you went like there's a hammerhead shark over there, I would be way more worried. For some reason, Mako just does not come to me as dangerous. Now, the Mako shark is regularly blamed for attacks on humans due to its speed and power. Okay. But majority of the time, the only time a Mako shark attacks a person is during the act of catching it and bringing it back on the boat.
So it's provoked, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The only time people get attacked by Mako sharks is when they catch them.
Interesting.
And, you hear great white. Obviously, you're like, oh, that thing's just like a murder machine, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Mako shark to me just doesn't personify fear.
It's not the thing you picture when you think killer sharks. I mean, maybe. So I guess if you go back to 1976 when this came out, I mean, Jaws had just been released. I mean, maybe it just wasn't in the public consciousness yet, where like which of the the great white being sort of the scary shark that everyone thinks about. I mean, maybe that just wasn't in the like I said, the public consciousness yet. But still, even then, I feel like Mako was not the go-to species of shark for your horror movie.
Exactly. So let's take a look here. In 2019, there were 64 confirmed unprovoked cases. Now, unprovoked meaning that the shark came out of nowhere and just started attacking people, right? There wasn't any incident in which you would see, the shark, like it was an unpoked shark. The shark went out to kill something.
Yeah.
In the United States, excluding Hawaii, there were 36 deaths total from sharks.
In 2019?
In 2019. That doesn't seem like a lot.
No, yeah. I mean, actually, that seems more than I would have thought.
Exactly.
Because I had always had this impression that fatal shark attacks especially were a lot rarer than people were afraid of. And so.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem that it's a fear that lives inside of my head when I go visit the ocean, that I'm going to get attacked by the shark. But again, like you said, my dad has talked about when Jaws came out, he also lived in Florida, and people were terrified of going into the water. Like that tagline of "You'll be afraid to go into the water" was very real when Jaws came out.
Yeah.
It just like how people were afraid to use Ouija boards after The Exorcist. They had this irrational fear that something was going to happen to them. So I can kind of get it. I can kind of get like if the movie went that, if they had some offline that went, I'm here to show that sharks aren't as bad as that Jaws movie depicts or that shark movie depicts, then I can kind of get like Sonny's motivation a little bit more.
Right.
As opposed to just being this creep show that goes around and just like goes, sharks aren't evil. Sharks aren't evil. Like
you getting on bars and ranting to people. Yeah. I mean, I guess so. Okay. So that's the thing. Like I thought, what is this movie trying to say? I mean, it's clearly a cash grab, first of all, off of Jaws. I mean, like I said, I think it came out almost a year to the day later, like July or June 1976. But I mean, I guess at least there's some credit due where they tried to do something different, where it wasn't just a carbon copy of beachgoers being harassed and they've got to go hunt it down. They at least tried to do something different. But the fact that this whole like, oh man, was the real monster all along, it just seems so not well done in this movie at all.
So cliched,
very cliched.
Even if it wasn't cliched at that point of like the man is the true monster, it is at this point, and it's so bad. And it usually when like, oh, man is the true monster, kind of like when King Kong, right? King Kong,
right?
Spoilers, he falls off the Empire State Building and dies, and people are like, no, it was Beauty that killed the beast.
Like you get nothing that poignant in this movie.
Man is the true monster. The monkey just wanted to live. Like exactly. There's no point in which like someone sacrifices their lives for a shark in order for the shark to keep continuing. Or at no point does a shark give its life to be like, I'll protect you, Sonny. So you never get that moment where these characters build upon each other and get interconnected
No.
to where you feel any emotion for them.
And I think, I mean, you sort of get the impression that they tried to make Sonny that character, but the fact that he's also murdering and maiming people in the process, make the fact that there's no redeemable or any character with good motivation makes it kind of ruins the plot, because you almost need that character who's, like you said, the one who's like sticking up for them and who makes a sacrifice, which again they kind of tried to do that, but then you also have scenes where he's hanging Oddjob by a fishhook and towing him behind a boat. You don't feel bad for him, and then by extension you don't really feel bad for the sharks, aside from the fact that you know that they're being killed to make this shitty movie.
Exactly. Oh man, I was so disappointed in this, and when I rated it, I gave it a 1 star.
Yeah,
there was so few moments in the movie besides Oddjob being dragged by that hook where I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, and kind of like cool, creative sort of images or ideas, and yeah, I think it was too sparse. I mean, I think I 1.5 is what I'd give it. I think it's right on the cusp for me of being a movie that I found annoying, and this was just more boring than anything. And like you said, there were a couple funny lines, there were a couple of cool ideas where it kind of kept it out of that I just hate it kind of category. So I'll throw it the 1.5 2 on my scale.
Okay. Yeah, this one is pretty disappointing. And I don't know about the next one, which is going to be called Savage Weekend. You have been chosen. You are doomed. Prepare yourself for Savage Weekend.
Savage Weekend.
Now, Halloween came out in 1978. Friday the 13th came out in 1980. Savage Weekend came out in 1976. So this is a slasher before the movies that like,
we're all
coined
with
the slasher. Looking at it, doesn't look like there's anyone in it that we know. There could be eventually, maybe, when I start doing my deep investigation into the film. But that will be the next one. It is another horror movie. It is another slasher.
Excellent.
This is the second to last film, Greg, before we get into the 80s, because the next one after Savage Weekend will be Gas Pump Girls. Both of these films are available on Amazon Prime, free to watch, freemium to watch.
Freemium.
So that will be the next one that we view.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think this sort of continued our pattern so far, where it's kind of a roller coaster, where we get something good we got with Joe, then something bad with Beast in the Cellar, then we got something good with Crucible of Horror, and then this was out. I don't think this wasn't quite as bad for me as Beast in the Cellar. I found it a little bit more entertaining than that, but not by much.
This wasn't boring. There was never a point in which like I sat down watching and I was like, oh, holy crap, this is boring, because Sonny was creepy. The characters were horrible. Barney was, anytime that he showed up on the screen, I was just like, oh my God, he's so disgusting.
He's horrible to look at.
There was enough going on that I never got bored, which is way better than Beast of the Cellar, but it was bad because it didn't deliver on what it seemed to promise.
Yeah, I think this one suffered a lot from, I mean, maybe we were getting our expectations too high unnecessarily, but I think we both expected more entertainment value out of this, and it just kind of fell flat. You think that they were, some of these ripoffs of the Jaws, I'm sure are entertainingly bad, but this was just only slightly in that good bad category.
Exactly. Oh, well, here's the hope that Savage Weekend is better than what we just saw.
Yes, we've got to continue the pattern. We need a gem.
Oh man, so if this one's good, that means Gas Pump Girls is gonna suck.
It's gonna suck. Oh man.
My God.
Hopefully, maybe we need to break the pattern so we don't fall into kind of like a Star Trek thing where evens and odds are either really great or shit, alternatively.
Oh man, how hard would it be to go through the films knowing if that pattern exists? Like the next film would be like, oh my god, this is going to be the bad one. This is going to be the bad one, and it's just going to be
It's gonna
anxiety
ruin
building up.
gonna ruin my Sunday afternoon having to talk about a shit movie.
Oh man.
I will say that, so for my quote of the week, I actually had two that I had a really hard time choosing between them in this one. And this was the reason I got that little extra half star that gave it the 1.5, because there were a couple funny, weird lines that were clearly not intended to be funny, but they got a good guffaw out of me as I heard them. So the first one was when Sonny kind of he sees what they're doing to the shark with this, the high frequency sonar, and he storms out and drives off in his van, and Karen runs out after him, is yelling and mocking him, and she says, "Get out of here, you shark lover."
Oh my god.
Which,
oh my god, yeah.
It got a chuckle out of me, but I've found myself, I've said that to Becky a couple times, just kind of like off the cuff, and
Nice.
it's really grown on me as a kind of a weird offbeat insult, I guess. Get out of here, you shark lover.
It's like calling people chuds. People will be like, "What did you just say?" Don't worry about a shark lover.
Don't worry about it, you shark lover. It just makes absolutely no sense. And I mean, maybe it was an insult to Sonny, but as the audience, it was just hilarious.
I love it.
So the other one is the shared quote of the week for me, which is, well, near the end where Sonny shows up to go confront Dr. Science Man, and we see the lab technician. We get a scene of him feeding the sharks, and he's talking to himself or the sharks. I'm not really sure, but he says, "Haha, you sharks, you sure don't know about inflation, do you?"
Oh my god, that's right.
I mean, again, that's not quite as quotable as "Get out of here, you shark lover," but I had to pause the movie because I was laughing so much. It's just the most baffling thing for a character to be saying to either himself or sharks.
Yeah.
I mean, is he talking about the economy? Is he talking about literal inflation of balloons? Or, I mean, it was just beyond confusing.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that line. And now that you said it, I remember being baffled by it too. Like, why the hell is he talking to sharks about this? Sharks are one of those animals that show no emotion. It's not like a dog or a cat that like will look at you inquisitively.
Yeah, you can, like, there's sort of character there that you could sort of believe. I mean, everyone talks to their pets a little bit, but I don't
sharks,
think people talk to sharks.
Oh my god,
that those dead eyes, like dove's eyes.
Like dove's eyes. Charlie, are you quoting Jaws right now?
No, man.
Oh man, yes, I love him. I love both the quotes. You shark lover.
You got you shark lover.
Oh, well, we can only hope that there's a good quotable quote in the next one as well.
I can only hope.
Oh man, you shark lover. Well, I don't have anything left to say. Greg, do you have anything else?
No, I think that's all I got in the hopper for Mako Jaws of Death.
All right. Well, remember, shark lovers, since we said it.
That's canon.
There was In Cold Blood, The Boston Strangler, Helter Skelter, and now, Savage Weekend. Savage Weekend is not a film for the whole family. It's only for those who can stand to be.